way that you work on it, because you're working on it. I mean, that's amazing. You're doing so much already.
Hello everyone and welcome to our channel where we talk about game development, a couple working together, and how we work on our dream. In this video, we will talk about 4 easy ways to work together in a team.
But first, let's get cozy. I think a really important thing is to be able to honestly listen to the other person before you jump to any conclusions, because most of the time the other person just wants to explain something, and if you jump in or assume something that they didn't actually mean, then it will just cause disruption and you will not actually get to the purpose of what you're doing this for. The point of it is to work together and to create a product that you're proud of, and to let go of pride and personal gain in this regard, because you are a team and you want to find something in common.
Yeah, it's good to delegate this task of knowing the path to a person like a lead, but if that's not the case, it's good that all people that take part in this team should remember why they're doing this and not stray from the path. If you like our videos, please like, share, and subscribe.
The second thing that's really important is for the person that's trying to express something to be clear and to use words that the other person can understand and specifically explain what you're trying to do. In our case, for example, when we work on a game and I want something to be changed or improved or done in my vision, and I just say, you should move this to that, he would be like, and so if I say, look, I mean, and then I point to the screen, I say, this movement I would like to have changed, or here I would like to have this, then he will actually understand what I mean. And after that, as we said before, he needs to listen. He needs to listen to what I'm saying and then describe what he thinks about it.
And you should know that what you want to express, it's very developed in your own mind. The person doesn't know how you think. So
unfortunately, he doesn't read my mind.
When I have a whole code concept in my head, and when you want a small change, just add to my code.
Therefore, the third thing, very important thing, is to be flexible in one's vision. Because what is really important when you work on things is to try to make it adaptable, and not just the product but your mindset, because the more people work on it, the harder it can be to keep your own idea going. But if you are decided on creating a team effort for the product, then you can easily see why another person's opinion or suggestions would be really valuable in this regard.
You should adapt more easily to what others believe and think. It's clear that you have a vision of how the game should look like in the end, but all the others are in your team for a reason, and you should listen to them because their feedback is valuable. So while being flexible, you allow yourself to be helped by others, and you allow others to be more receptive to what you have to say.
Rely on the others because they have an expertise on their side. If it comes, like for example, if it comes to code, I have no idea what he did, but as long as I have an idea of what I want to be seenable, I will come to him and say, okay, is this possible? And he says no. Every party of the team is allowed to have an opinion and to come forth with it, and every other person has to be any level of flexible to be able to receive it.
Yeah, in our dynamic, I am a programmer and my flexibility is just slightly lower because I have a whole architecture created in my head and I am focused onto my Visual Studio program and started working on, and in the end it's so either clean or very spaghetti code, and it's just a horror to change something inside the code, which shouldn't be the case for a good programmer. I know what I'm thinking. But if you actually want the game to be successful, you need to listen to the person that is responsible for its appearance and looks. As long as we are clear on what we did inside of our game, the other one can be more flexible and receptive to it. What I learned to do is to express what it's capable of and how I can extend it. And therefore, she adapts the assets and the animations to the code. And expectations.
Yes, because honestly, there's so many things that I sometimes imagine. Most of the time, I have a specific view and idea of what I'm creating, and I want it to come to life in the game. But sometimes that coming to life is way harder than I would ever imagine. And so I come to him and tell him, look, I would like this and this and this, and he tells me, okay, doable, but it's going to take a lot of time. And therefore, we kind of involuntarily put it on this type of diagram in which it's necessary and impactful or very easy to do. And then we just think about it. Is it worth it? Will it have a huge impact? And when we added in Timmy in all our videos, we're sure that not everyone will gonna see him, but that's a pleasure for us. But if it would be way harder to do, would it be worth it? Would it not? And therefore, you have to always evaluate how impactful the outcome will be and if the effort is worth it.
And remember that anything can be difficult in the beginning, but as long as you practice, you do it, it's gonna be effortless at some point.
Yeah.
Like animating these small plants in Find Eden was difficult at the beginning, but it just became easier because also the codes that I did were more structured and allows for more flexibility. At some point, you came to me with a desire to make mushrooms glow. Okay.
Shouldn't be hard.
Shouldn't be hard. It wasn't. I made them glow. And then she was like, okay, I want 5 mushrooms. Each should glow with a different intensity and time. And none of them should be equal. Okay, I can still do that. But allowing myself to be flexible, I created an amazingly adaptive code that allows for these changes. If it's worth it and difficult, it's still needed to be done.
And just one hint that if you're starting off with this type of thing and you're not used to it, you haven't put down the specific ways of working just yet, because everything is experience, and if you haven't come a far way, because we haven't either, always calculate in much more time than you expected. Always, because it's never as easy as you think.
Buffer zone. Leave yourself buffer zones. If the task should take 2 hours, give yourself 2-3 days.
Yeah.
For a drawing or just a simple book that the pages need to flip in an animation, give yourself time.
Yeah.
Because it needs from concept to sketch to drawing to integration in the existing game to visually being appearing for the players.
And then in the end, when you finally have done all this, it doesn't really show. But that's fine.
So we have an Easter egg, yeah.
We have an Easter egg that if you see it in the demo that will come on February, then you will like it. And another pro tip, as he said earlier with the buffer zone shouldn't be only in timely things, it should be for each other. That means that sometimes the other person isn't as good as explaining what they're wanting to do at the moment, or maybe their mood isn't as good as it could be. Give each other a buffer zone and space to be allowed to express what they're feeling and come in tune with the other person.
Yeah, remember why you're doing this together. Awesome. Number 4 is feedback. Feedback meaning that you should be able to take what the other person is saying, but trusting that the other person is giving you a good feedback and it works in the purpose for the game. In our case, I am not a person that takes feedback very lightly. I can get pretty hurt by mean comments or by comments about a system that I created, in which I put a lot of effort in, days even, that in the end doesn't show up to the expectations that we had in the beginning, or it's not very visible, but the code behind is very complex and does its thing. Whereas this changes my mood, it changes my potential of being clear in what I created and my ability to be flexible. In the end, all you gotta trust is the other person didn't mean to hurt you, but you can like set a specific set of rules in which to give feedback, to be kind than the mean comment, which is not mean. It's just the constructive one. It's my perception that it's a mean comment, but the constructive thought behind it was, can this be changed a bit? Can this be modified? Feedback is vital to any game out there. That's why we're creating a demo to receive feedback for Find Eden early on so we can change. And I promise I'll be receptive.
Yes, another pro tip in this regard, especially when, for example, I created a bunch of assets and now he's creating a scene and he's making things move and animations and stuff like that, and he calls me to the screen and asks me what I think, I sometimes don't know what to comment on. Because I look at all of it and something just stands out to me and I will talk about it. And I was like, okay, this doesn't look good. And it's like, I was not working on that. I was working on this thing in the corner. I haven't even looked at that. give me feedback to the corner. But this already
Be
creates
clear.
this already creates a little bit of a rupture between you, because you don't know what the other person is talking about in the get-go. So what you can do is call the person or ask for feedback, and ask for feedback specifically to something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for example, you can ask, okay, any other ideas, any other thoughts you have? And then I can come in with the other things that I didn't like or loved or whatever.
Yeah.
But it needs to be clear, because when these things are happening, there are thousands of things each of us are looking at. He will look at the smoothness of the animation. I will look at that stupid flickering light that I've told him 10 times that he should remove. And it's not going to work. And
You wanted growing mushrooms.
I want, yes. and be gentle. I think gentle is the word that you should go with everything you do. Be gentle with the expectations toward yourself. Be gentle with the other person. Be gentle with the way that you work on it, because you're working on it. I mean, that's amazing. You're doing so much already, and having unrealistic expectations for something that you're only just starting off with, and doesn't leave room for anything. So if you just look at it with gentleness and say, okay, I'm doing this, it looks acceptable, I'm willing to leave it this way, or I'm not, but I can go back to it and it's fine the way it is at the moment. I can always go back and do something about it after. That gives a lot of freedom to try and play and experiment.
In the end, you should enjoy doing what you're doing and having fun. Remember that nobody can read minds. Okay?
Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear more from us, let us know in the comments specifically what you would like to hear, and if you have any feedback. Let us know.
Don't talk about my hair, please. And don't talk about Ferb.
Talk about Ferb, he loves it.
No, yeah, I love Ferb.
This is Ferb, our wonderful plant.
And most importantly, remember that importantly. Importantly. You'll be British, you right? And most importantly, you wrong. English broke. Can you explain this, please?